Hello, welcome friend. I am so glad you are here. Welcome to Dancing Water. My name is Susan. I'm here in my Dancing Water office and studio where I practice restorative yoga, and that's what we're here to do today for our Dancing Water daily practice. A simple restorative yoga that is designed to open our bodies in a very gentle and natural way. Restorative yoga is not about creating contorted postures or deep stretch or powering through anything. Restorative yoga is designed to tap into the body's natural ability to relax and unwind itself. And so with support of simple props that you can find around the house, I hope you will take this time for yourself to allow that to happen. What we are anchoring our practice in today is skillfully navigating overwhelm. Overwhelming feelings happen to all of us at one time or another, but particularly when situations are stressful, when a lot of things are either changing or feel uncertain, overwhelm is a very common feeling. And my invitation with these practices this week is to meet that sensation with skill and with some tools. And one of the most powerful things that we can do when we feel overwhelmed is to take a pause, to stop what we're doing. And one of the things that can happen for me, I can feel very stuck when I feel overwhelmed. But that's different than a pause. A pause is a conscious choice. Another thing I can do when I feel overwhelmed is to go on full-on doing mode and just doing things in order to be doing things. And again, a conscious pause is something that is tremendously powerful to engage the higher level thinking of the prefrontal cortex and allowing your parasympathetic nervous system to turn on. I offer a quote, a famous quote from Viktor Frankl. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response, and in our response lies our growth and freedom. So this practice that I'm offering today is a space. So let's step into that, move into that together. So I'm going to just show you the props that you'll need for this practice, which you can gather from around the house. We'll need two regular sized bath towels, and we'll start with one of them just folded in a square, and then the other folded into what I like to call the towel log. Just a simple roll that gives a little more lift and a little more firmness of support. So we've got that. We've got a blanket and two firm pillows that you can take from your sofa, or if you have very firm bed pillows, those will also work. I also use an eye covering sometimes, depending on how I feel and depending on how much light there is in the room. I like using a small hand towel in that I can use it as an eye covering, but I can also use it as a small pillow or support. I can tuck it places to give my body support. So that's what I like to use. You can use a scarf if that helps you, or an eye pillow will also work. And finally, I recommend having a cup of tea or water, something that you can mark the end of your practice, the closing of the space at the end. And you can see I've got a yoga mat on a carpet. It is important that the space, the surface underneath you is soft. So another option is to have a blanket or something else if you feel that you need some more support, so that you can feel very comfortable and very relaxed on the floor. All right. So let's just take a moment and allow ourselves to arrive. Just taking a couple of deep breaths, inhaling through the nose, holding it gently at the top, and then exhale through the mouth. Let's just do that 2 more times. Inhale, and then exhale with some kind of audible sound after a little pause at the top. One more time. So the first pose that we will do together, I love the name of it, we're going to do surfboard. So I'm not a surfer, but if I were to surf, this would be the way I would like to surf. Taking the two pillows and line them up just next to each other like that. And then take your towel log and put it at the end of your mat. So this is going to be a face down pose. So this is going to be for the front of your ankles, and this is going to be for the front of your body. Now, depending on how tall you are, you may also need a towel at the top for your head and face. But check it out. So for me, if I take the front of my body and I want to just take my hip bones and connect them right to the front end of the pillows here. And then for me, these two pillows work great. It supports both my head and my torso. If you were taller, you might need more of a pillow. And depending on your neck, you may want to take the towel. See, that for me that doesn't feel good, but it might feel good for you. So, and then just check out the placement of your towel log for right at the front of your ankles. So what you want is to feel the fronts of your thighs relaxing on the floor, and your palms, you can come to an easy, soft cactus arms here like that. Or what I like to do is slide my hands underneath the pillow. That gives my head a little bit of support, but there's also something really nourishing about the sensation in my palms here. So make all the micro adjustments that you need to get onto your surfboard. Can't you just feel it? Floating on some gentle waves. And just letting the sun just softly land on your back. And in restorative yoga, we allow the breath to do whatever it needs to do. So it may get shallow or it may get deep. It's totally fine. There's no particular way of breathing. Just allowing your body to respond, right? So the feelings of overwhelm is a reaction, like a reflex. But the choice to find a space to pause, that is a response. Notice a sensation in your shoulders. As you breathe, let your shoulder blades softly open and close. Feeling the scapula, the shoulder blades, gently slide along the outside of your top ribs. Let the tops of your feet get really heavy, and let the soles of your feet open. This is a beautiful pose for getting length and opening along your back body. As you let your body sink into this pose, you can check into your neck. You may want to turn your head to the other side. Another option, if this feels good, is to take your hands into fists and letting your forehead rest right on the top fist. Imagining space opening up between each vertebra along the back body. Let your tailbone get heavy here. And letting your breath smooth down over your ribs. And then as you're ready, just sliding your hands out if they're underneath you. Bringing your palms right underneath your shoulders. And using the space in between the poses as part of the practice. So bringing yourself to all fours and very gently just looking up, lifting your tail and looking down, very gently cat-cowing your body. Just noticing sensation, not really overstretching, just giving a little movement. Another possibility may be to push your body back over your heels, just briefly coming into child's pose. And then slowly making sure the transitions are part of what you're doing here. Slowly bring yourself up into seated and give yourself a chance to reorient again into upright, making a little bit of space between each pose. And then we're going to open the side body. So taking your pillows on top of each other here. Now, again, depending on the length of your torso and how mobile your spine is, you may need more or less height. For me, this is good. But another option is to bring that square towel on top and to give a little more height. So experiment and see what works well for you. Then taking your towel log and have it in front of you, and either take this square towel and use it as a pillow for your head, or you may also use your eye covering here. So what we're going to do, there is a pose called banana pose, which is more of a yin pose that brings a lot of height here, so that when we put the side body over, neither the shoulder nor the hip come in contact with the floor. That is not what we're doing in a restorative pose. In this restorative version, we are allowing the hip to come right up against the support, and your shoulder is going to go between the pillows and the support for your head. So, and also make sure you've got your blanket handy. So what we're going to do is take the top hand, push open, so opening the bottom, what are going to be the bottom ribs, up and over, dropping your shoulder right on the other side of the support, and then creating some support for your head. So for me, a fold of the towel gives me the support that my head really wants here. Allowing your shoulder to relax, make sure it's in a nice, comfortable, easy position. And then take your towel log and support between your knees and or your ankles. I like it if I can get it situated so that there's some space, again, space between my knees and my ankles. Then taking my blanket and just tucking it behind me. So it's almost like there's a cat sleeping right at the small of my back. You may actually tuck it underneath you, or another option is to drape it over. And this is another way of getting support from the side and above. So again, making your micro adjustments. Now taking your top hand, there are lots of options here. You can rest it in front. You can rest it on your ribs. Some people like the sensation of the arm overhead. This is okay for me, but it feels a little bit like I am wanting more stretch, and really what I want is to find comfort. So take a breath. And right away, just notice the sensation like we were on the surfboard before, both sinking into the support and floating at the same time. Make sure that your neck feels supported and relaxed. Another option here might be to put something like an eye pillow under your neck, under the side of your neck. Yeah, that feels good. So it's interesting, the practice of restorative yoga is about making space, but we use the supports to fill in space, right? So any time that there is an opening, like at your low back or at your neck, you may want to find some support to tuck into that space. Notice your ribs. Allow your top ribs to float on your breath. We've had a lot of rain here at Dancing Water, and a lot of leaves and flower petals have fallen into the river, and as it flows, there are certain places where the leaves just gather and float on the currents of the river. And imagine that's happening in your top ribs. Noticing the long bones of your thighs and your shins. With every breath, just let them sink a little closer to the mat, into the earth. As if they were nestling into soft, warm sand or soft, warm soil. Part of the practice of restorative yoga is giving ourselves time, giving the body time. Think of how much of your day you are doing and active and moving. Even when we're sleeping, we're processing and moving. So this practice of creating space, conscious space of stillness and stopping, is profound. When you're ready, taking a couple of last deep breaths on this side, and we're going to gently transition to the other side. So let me show you how I'd like you to do this, although I'm going to do something else. But what I'd like you to do is just to take your top hand, softly press it into the floor, slowly sit up. Yeah, see if you can resist the temptation to pop up and change. Keep using the space in between as powerful medicine. Now, what you're going to do, just move your blanket to the side, and you're just going to very easy take yourself, shift your hip to the opposite side. Use your top hand, come up and over. And then drop your shoulder in between the pillows and the head support. So as you are getting yourself arranged, you're going to put your towel log between your legs and you're going to put your blanket behind your knees. I'm just going to set up on the other side so that I can face you. So remember that you want to feel supported in the bones, especially of your knees and ankles. You want to feel the tuck of your blanket behind your low back and maybe wrapped around your waist. And checking into your neck and your head and adjusting the towel there so that it feels really comfortable. It's worth investing the time in making the little micro adjustments now so that your body can fully receive the benefits of the pose without any tension or holding. And so what you do, how you have your legs and your arm on this side, it might be different. What worked on the other side might not work as well on this side, right? Feeling the space and the support. Breathing both space and support in between your bones. And notice that this is not sleep. This is an aware relaxation. One in which we stay present to sensations as they arise, to sounds in the space. You can close your eyes or soften your gaze. Notice a sensation in the palms of your hands. See if you can allow your hands to be super receptive. Notice your feet. See if you can relax your toes. Feeling the structure of your pelvis, your hip resting like a smooth bowl tipped on its side. Allow the weight of your pelvis to create some opening through the side body. Allow your shoulder to be heavy. The globe, the sphere of your head to be heavy, both sinking and floating at the same time. And while your breath lifts and drops your upper ribs, creating space in between each one, let your belly also soften. Overwhelm could land firmly in the belly and create tension there. See if you can soften it. Let it pour open as if it was the contents of the bowl of the pelvis, and just let it puddle up. Asking yourself, what can I let go of in this shape that I've taken? And then, as you're ready, taking your top hand and let it feel the floor. Before you push down, before you move, let your hand feel the floor in a receptive way, and then slowly transition, resisting that urge to quickly shift. Bring yourself back up to sitting slowly. So now we have opened the back body. We've opened the side body. So now let's open the heart. So what we're going to do is make two towel logs. So this towel log kind of got messy. So make two nice firm rolls with your towel. And we're going to put those both at the end of the mat. And then, oops, I'm sitting on the wrong side. So what we're going to do is open the heart. So let's see, I think the best way to do that is to create a pillow with either your eye covering or your blanket. I think I'm going to need more than just my eye covering. So let's just have that there and ready. So what I'd like you to do is bring your body very close to the edge of the pillows. And the towel logs are going to be support for your knees and your thighs. So the soles of your feet will come together. It does not matter how close it is to your body. It's nothing to do with any kind of particular way of getting into this. Just feel the soles of your feet connect in a way that feels easeful. And then use your hands on your shins and lift your chest up. Lift your heart up. Imagine sunshine coming down onto your heart. And then use your hands for support and gently lower your way down so that your heart is lifted. So you want the pillows right underneath the back of your heart, right where a bra strap would go. And then you want your head supported enough so that your chin is tucked. So sometimes we do this as a reclining, almost like a lounge chair, but this is a little different. This is intentionally lifting the heart higher than the head and the hips. And then just make sure that you feel really supported in your legs. Even if you have the flexibility to let your legs fall to the floor, I strongly recommend the towels underneath your legs to give your body the reassurance that it has space to unwind, that it doesn't have to force anything. And this is a great place to actually use the eye covering as an eye covering. I like to press it down and remind my eyes that they can relax too. And then just take a couple of deep breaths into your sternum. It feels like I have a friend here. This is Phoenix, who is one of my great teachers. Nobody knows how to relax and let go more than she does. So you may find this, that if you're practicing, that if you have animals or children in the house, that they may be pulled, like a gravitational pull toward you being on the floor. So now feel your heart as you breathe. Feel this sense. Imagine your heart like a sun that's being fueled by your breath. Inhaling and exhaling and letting the sun expand in its radiation of warmth. Feeling your heart fully supported here in its opening. Checking into small muscles around your eyes, your mouth, in your temples, even your scalp. See if you can let the supported, radiating warmth of your heart soften the small muscles in your face and head. Muscles and connective tissue around your collarbones, your clavicle bones, and your shoulders. Again, a place where overwhelm can reside is in the upper chest and shoulders, making this conscious space to let that tension unwind. Softening the muscles of your inner thighs as if they were silk ropes gone slack and soft. Your feet also soft, like two halves of very ripe avocados. Just let your feet softly mush together. And here, come to awareness of your breath. Allow yourself to make some kind of audible sound on your exhale. Just taking a breath in, maybe humming, sighing. Letting the vibration move along your bones. So now very gently we're going to move off of these supports. So see if we can do this in a very gentle way. So begin by taking your hands to the outside of your thighs and using the strength of your hands, fold your knees up toward the sky. And now very gently drop to one side. Your eye covering may fall off, that's fine. Come onto one side and then scoochie the pillows away from you. And then come back onto your back with or without the support under your head. Just come to a pose of constructive rest. So after your thighs were open, now we're going to let your feet come wide and your knees rest gently together. Just a couple of breaths here to reorient your body. And now as you feel yourself here, now notice the supports and notice the space. So notice the spaces underneath the arches of your feet, the space underneath your low back, and the space underneath your neck. These are spaces that we can build and breathe into these are the spaces that we can consciously choose to pause in. Now, as you're ready, gently bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a little hug. So you may lift your head, but that may be more than you want to do right now. It's more than I want to do right now. Just give yourself a little hug to squeeze your knees in, then roll to one side. And gently and slowly, just as we've been doing, push yourself up to seated and let yourself sit on something that feels good, and so that your hips are a little higher than your knees. So it's very common in this practice that your body temperature goes down. So often by this time in the practice, and sometimes earlier, I would like a blanket on me. When I'm teaching, I don't like to use a blanket because I want you to be able to see my body, but whenever you're practicing, it's totally fine to cover yourself in any way that feels supportive and comforting. And then as you're ready, you can take your tea or your water and just pause here in this space that you've given yourself. Between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. We have a choice when we feel overwhelmed. Sometimes that choice means action, but sometimes that choice means stopping. So thank you for stopping, pausing, and letting yourself feel the possibility in the space that we open for ourselves. And taking a breath into this moment, smelling, and then taking a sip. Asking yourself, before you move on to whatever it is that is next for you today, ask yourself, what can I take with me from this practice? What can I carry forward? See that clearly in your mind's eye, feel that in your body, and take a sip. And then ask yourself something that you can let go of, something that you can put down. You might even take your palm and place it on the earth as a symbol of releasing whatever it is that you no longer need. And with that clearly in your mind, take another sip. Friends, I am so grateful for you. Thank you for practicing with me. Thank you for being part of the Dancing Water Daily community, for subscribing to my YouTube channel, for liking, sharing, commenting on any videos that are helpful to you. It makes a difference. It helps me reach more people with this ever-expanding net of love. And if you are so moved and have the means, I'd be deeply grateful for any financial contribution, any donations to allow me to continue to create these practices for you and anyone else who needs them, regardless of their circumstances. You are a blessing. Thank you so much for being here. Mwah. I'll see you next time. Say bye, Phoenix.